If you have ever been told you are too sensitive or too much, I need you to hear this loud and clear. Your emotional landscape was not a choice you made. Emotional immaturity did not just happen to you. It was shaped by people and moments long before you knew what was happening. It was an inheritance, passed down through generations, a survival strategy taught in the quiet, unexamined moments of your youth. You may have learned to swallow your tears to keep the peace. You may have learned to make yourself small to avoid conflict. You may have learned to perform happiness to earn love. These are not character flaws. They are brilliant adaptations your younger self developed to navigate a world that felt unsafe for your whole, authentic heart. This essay will help you understand that your sensitivity is not a weakness, but a starting point for profound emotional growth. The label, too sensitive, is often a convenient way for others to dismiss feelings. When someone cannot hold space for your anger, when they cannot hold space for your sadness, when they cannot hold space for your fear, it's easier to name you as the problem than to look at their own limits. And so, you learned. You learned that certain feelings were acceptable and others were not. You learned to curate your emotional expression to fit the needs of those around you, often at the expense of your own. This is learning to survive, not learning to feel and express authentically. This is the root of emotional immaturity, a set of outdated armor that once protected you, but now blocks true connection. This journey is not about placing blame on parents, caregivers, or past partners. It is about compassionate curiosity, looking back with gentle eyes and acknowledging the environment that shaped you. Maybe you grew up where emotions were a sign of weakness, or where only certain emotions, like anger, got airtime. Maybe you were praised for being the easy child, which secretly taught you your needs were a burden. These lessons become the default settings of our emotional operating system as adults, running in the background long after the original circumstances passed. The promise here is not a quick fix, but a pathway to understanding and healing. We will unpack what emotional immaturity truly looks like, how it was wired into you, and most importantly, what clear, actionable steps you can take. Learn to honor the truth of your feelings. Build skills to navigate them with courage. Reclaim the parts of yourself you were taught to hide. Not about becoming less sensitive, about becoming more skilled at wielding the power of your sensitivity. Learning to thrive, not just survive. When we talk about emotional immaturity, it is easy to picture someone throwing a tantrum, but the reality is far more nuanced and often much quieter. At its core, emotional immaturity means having underdeveloped skills for dealing with the full spectrum of human feeling. It manifests not just in big explosions, but also in the silent, avoidant patterns that quietly erode our lives and relationships. It might look like an immediate shutdown when a conversation gets difficult, a complete freeze when a loved one needs you to be present with their pain. You might find yourself deflecting with humor, changing the subject, or intellectualizing a situation to avoid the messy, uncomfortable reality of the emotion itself. These are not signs of a bad person. They are signs of a person who was never given the proper tools. Consider the common manifestations in daily life. Emotional immaturity is the quick, defensive anger that flashes when you receive gentle feedback, interpreting it as a personal attack rather than an opportunity for growth. It is the persistent people-pleasing, the deep-seated need to say yes to every request, even when your body is screaming, no, because the fear of disappointing someone feels more threatening than betraying yourself. It is the inability to sit with ambiguity or discomfort, leading to impulsive decisions made just to alleviate the anxiety of the unknown. These behaviors are exhausting, and they create a life that feels reactive and out of your control, as if you are constantly being pulled by the currents of other people's expectations and your own unexamined fears. This lack of emotional skill often creates a binary world of feeling. You are either fine or you are in a full-blown crisis. There is very little room for the subtle shades in between, the gentle sadness, the quiet frustration, the simmering disappointment. Because these more nuanced feelings were never named or validated, you lack the language and the capacity to hold them. As a result, they build up under the surface, like pressure in a sealed container. Eventually, that pressure has to go somewhere. It might leak out as passive aggression, chronic anxiety, physical ailments, or it might erupt in a sudden, seemingly disproportionate outburst that leaves both you and those around you bewildered and hurt. Ultimately, emotional immaturity is a profound disconnect from your own inner world. It is like trying to navigate a vast and complex territory with a map that is missing most of the landmarks. You know there are mountains and rivers within you, but you were taught to ignore them, to pretend they do not exist. So you stumble, you get lost, and you get hurt. The goal of emotional growth is not to level the mountains or drain the rivers, but to learn how to read the map. It is about building the skills to acknowledge the terrain of your own heart, to name what you see, and to navigate it with courage and self-compassion, transforming a source of fear into a source of wisdom. And that's a key shift. Our first lessons in emotional literacy are written in childhood, long before we have the cognitive ability to question the curriculum. Let's begin.